Welcome to Ryota. Brace yourselves for epic analyses of anime symbolism, sarcastic commentary that'll leave you in stitches, and debates on the best waifu. Let's dive into the Hashira training arc. After Nezuko's sudden transformation and the conclusion of the battle against the two demons, it was discovered that plans were underway to relocate the Swordsmith village. The aftermath of the battle prompted swift action, as it was expected that the demons would strike again come nightfall. Despite the village being attacked by two upper-ranked demons, the damage was minimal thanks to the efforts of the Slayers back at their hideout. Tanjiro, having awakened after 7 days of uninterrupted rest following the fight, engages in a conversation with Goto, the Kikuchi at the Butterfly Mansion. Goto informs Tanjiro about the swordsmith's preparations, including several vacant villages ready to serve as emergency shelters. As their conversation progresses, Goto reveals that he has heard something incredible about Nezuko. Tanjiro nonchalantly responds that she can now walk in the sun, expressing his disbelief at the absurdity of the situation while enjoying his meal. However, in an unintended slip, Tanjiro mentions that Tomio is investigating the mystery behind Nezuko's ability to withstand sunlight. Curious about Tomio, Goto questions Tanjiro, causing him to choke on his food and diverting Goto's attention from the topic. They laugh off the incident, joking about the peace they had until Zenitsu's arrival. The scene shifts abruptly to Zenitsu, the yellow-haired maniac, arriving at the Butterfly Mansion after completing a mission. He discovers the remarkable news that Nezuko can now walk in the sunlight and speak. Overwhelmed with excitement, Zenitsu exclaims loudly, claiming to have a heart attack. He grabs Nezuko and proceeds to express his adoration for her, repeatedly exclaiming how cute, wonderful, and marvelous she is. He even goes as far as to ask her to marry him, to which Nezuko replies with a simple, "Welcome back, Zenitsu." Hearing this, Zenitsu's mood changes instantly, and he declares that he will burn Inosuke alive. He then explains that Inosuke had visited the Butterfly Mansion a few days earlier, making it his mission to ensure that Nezuko could say his name. Later that same day, an emergency pillar meeting takes place at the Obishiki estate. Tsunami, Aguro, Michiru, Matsuri, Guillaume, Shinobu, and Ju are all present. After exchanging greetings, a significant figure named Kagai's wife appears on Kagai's behalf, as he is bedridden due to illness. Guillaume bows down upon hearing this news, praying from the depths of his heart for his master's continued life, even if it is just for one more day. Once the meeting commences, Amen brings up information regarding a certain demon who has managed to defy the sun, clearly referring to the astonishing Nezuko. He predicts that a full-scale war is imminent as a result. The conversation then shifts to the appearance of strange marks on Matsuri and Michiru. Amen, one of the attendees, explains that these marks resemble demonic patterns and were manifested by many of the first swordsmen who were on the verge of defeating Muzan. These marks were kept secret due to the disappointment of those who didn't possess them. Over time, the specifics became unclear, but it was widely known that those who possessed the mark could pass it on to others who met certain qualifications. Amen reveals that the first person in generations to manifest the mark was none other than Tanjiro. When asked about his experience with the mark, Tanjiro confesses that he had no idea how he felt when he received it, and thus, they decided not to pursue the matter. However, with 2 more people having gained the mark, Amen implores them to teach the others how to obtain it. Unfortunately, Tanjiro struggles to articulate the process, resulting in vague descriptions filled with sounds and gestures. In contrast, Michiru provides some insights into what could trigger the appearance of the mark. He recounts his fight, where he got poisoned and used his breathing techniques to slow his blood circulation. As he recalls his past memories and succumbs to anger, he loses control of his emotions, experiencing an accelerated heart rate and a feverish body temperature. According to Michiru, those who possess the qualifications but cannot endure such extreme circumstances will not manifest the mark and are likely to die. Those who can withstand it will gain the mark, enhancing their fighting abilities. Confused about the specifics, Amen asks how Michiru knew his body temperature reached 39 degrees Celsius. He explains that when he was 9, Shinobu treated his wounds, and it was reported that he had a fever of 39 degrees. Michiru recalls feeling the exact same way when the mark appeared. Encouraged by the possibilities, the attendees express their willingness to obtain the mark. However, Amen reveals a crucial detail: once the mark has manifested, it is too late for those who haven't obtained it. This news leaves the pillars in contemplation, preparing for a discussion on training. But before they can proceed, Tomioka stands up and declares that he has no reason to stay any longer. Confusion arises among the other pillars, questioning why Tomioka believes he doesn't need to be present. He simply states that he is different from them, leaving everyone frustrated. Shinozugawa expresses his disbelief and asks Tomioka if he looks down on the other Hashira. Tomioka remains silent, refusing to elaborate. Sensing tension, the stone pillar Kiyomiya intervenes, suggesting they continue the discussion in a calm manner. Meanwhile, Haganazuka arrives at the Butterfly Mansion to deliver Tanjiro his reforged sword. The swordsman struggles for air, his mask soaked in sweat. Without wasting time, Haganazuka presents Tanjiro's new sword, adorned with Ringaku's hilt. He hands it over to Tanjiro and, as requested by Goto, takes a seat before urging Tanjiro to unsheath the blade. Tanjiro is left speechless, captivated by the sword's beauty. Haganazuka explains that it is made of high-quality steel and might have been wielded by a formidable swordsman in the past. The blade bears the character for destruction in Japanese, pronounced Mitsu. Haganazuka also mentions the engravings on the Hashira's blades, which read Akimasatsu in Japanese, meaning destroy all evil demons. Tanjiro expresses surprise, as he hadn't noticed those words on the sword during his previous use. In a burst of anger, Haganazuka berates Tanjiro for causing irreparable damage to the blade during its early stages of sharpening. He then departs, with Tanjiro promising to bring him dumplings until his last day. Overhearing the commotion, an annoyed Genya complains about the noisy Tanjiro. His guests were interrupted as Tanjiro apologizes and begins to speak, but before he can finish, Inosuke bursts into the room, shattering the window in the process. The shirtless ball boy loudly declares that it's time for group strength training and that it starts now. A large group of demon slayers can be seen sweating profusely as they run through a mountain pass. Zenitsu explains that this special training, known as Hashira training, has commenced. Its purpose is to allow lower-ranked demon slayers to train individually with each of the Hashira, albeit in a different order, to strengthen their abilities. This unique exercise became necessary due to the sudden halt in demon appearances since Nezuko's transformation. The Hashira now split their time, performing security duties at night and focusing on training the demon slayers during the day. After hearing this explanation, Tanjiro expresses his enthusiasm, remarking on how amazing it all is. However, Zenitsu interrupts him and insists that it is not amazing but rather an excruciating experience, a complete hell. Tanjiro counters, stating that sparring with opponents stronger than oneself is the most effective way to improve quickly. He explains that through these battles, one can absorb wisdom and grow stronger. Zenitsu, infuriated, lunges at Tanjiro, biting his head, and proclaims that they are no longer friends. Tanjiro tries to reason with him, revealing that during his fight with the upper rank, he employed the trick Zenitsu taught him for thunder breathing. He hopes that Zenitsu realizes the value of connections with others and how they can help overcome difficult situations. Tanjiro assures Zenitsu that everything he learns during Hashira training will eventually benefit him in the future. Zenitsu's mood instantly shifts from anger to joy, and he insists that Tanjiro's words won't change his mood. He dashes out of the room while a random crow flies in, hitting Tanjiro on the forehead and delivering a letter. The scene transitions to the flamboyant retired Hashira, Tengen Yuzui, berating the younger slayers under his training for being late. He admonishes them, shouting that they can barely run and commanding them to stop licking the ground while striking them with his bakuto. It is revealed that Tengen is responsible for training the younger slayers, and his rigorous regimen begins with basic fitness workouts. Matsuri instructs them on flexibility, Takedo focuses on speed and agility, and Sanemi teaches swordsmanship, emphasizing infinite strikes with the wind. The final part of the training involves the ultimate strength training session with the stone Hashira, Gyom. These intense sparring sessions aim to further enhance the overall strength of the Hashira and, ideally, create the conditions for manifesting their marks. For those who have already manifested the mark, the focus is on maintaining their condition. The goal is to raise the overall strength of the Demon Slayer Corps in preparation for the upcoming battle. As the narrative shifts away from the training explanation, Tomioka sits alone, deep in thought. Suddenly, Tanjiro arrives and boldly enters Ju's house, leaving Tomioka stunned by the unexpected intrusion. Tanjiro proceeds to explain the training session to the Water Hashira and proposes that in 7 days, Ju will be able to return to active duty. Tanjiro asks Ju to train him during that time. However, Ju refuses, explaining that he was supposed to become the new Water Hashira. Tanjiro apologizes, mentioning his discussion with Urokodaki about breathing styles and how it is not uncommon to change one's breathing style and develop a new one. Tanjiro asserts that the water breathing techniques, in particular, serve as a foundation for many new styles. But Ju tells Tanjiro not to say such things because there is currently no Water Hashira, and someone must fill that role as soon as possible. Confused, Tanjiro questions Ju, who reveals that he is not the Water Hashira. Tanjiro's stunned silence leads him to recall the letter he received earlier, which was from Kagaya Ubuyashiki. Kagaya specifically asked Tanjiro to speak with Ju because he feels unable to do so himself. Kagaya explains that this is a crucial time that requires everyone to come together. Reflecting on the letter, Tanjiro recalls how he persistently spoke to Ju, wanting to know if Ju wished to fulfill what Sabito entrusted to him. This baffling question leaves the supposed water Hashira completely astonished. Memories of his past start flooding back into Ju's mind. He remembers Sabito slapping him and telling him never to say that he wished he had died. Sabito insisted that Ju had to live to protect others, honoring his sister who sacrificed her life to save him from a demon. In the present, Ju apologizes to both Sabito and his sister for his immaturity in forgetting such a fundamental moral. Tanjiro stands there silently observing Ju, and he wonders if he made a mistake by asking the question. In an attempt to defuse the situation, Tanjiro suggests they have an eating contest, which might resolve the tension. After deciding to train with Tanjiro, Ju turns around, but before his words can reach Tanjiro, the water Hashira accepts the challenge. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to hit that mesmerizing subscribe button and join our amazing community. If you're feeling extra generous, spread the anime love by sharing my videos with your fellow friends. Together, we'll create an unstoppable force of anime awesomeness.